Hi, loves. So we're in the ninth month of the second cycle of her mystery school, and this month is the month of Priestess. So we've moved through eight other aspects of deep feminine presence and power, and the culmination is here in Priestess, which is, in some ways, for me, the kind of deepest, most precious, and most relevant um, month of them all, because priestess is what's reemerging. Whether we are calling ourselves priestesses or not, whether it's a public thing or a very private thing, this understanding, this reality that female, the female body and women serve an important and specific role as a bridge and a conduit and a confluence of direct connection to divinity, of direct connection to soul, and to a source of wisdom that is life giving and life affirming and life sustaining, and that is beyond our concepts, beyond our imaginings. This is what's emerging in women right now, and it is part of the reemergence of a very interrupted lineage of priestess. When I was first referred to as a priestess, which was like maybe 10 or 15 years ago, it happened in a really casual context. It was, I think, my birthday party, and a very powerful woman who was herself a shamanic priestess kind of looked right at me and just, I don't even remember what else she was saying, but she just named me priestess. And I felt it. It's like I can still feel the moment, and I can still see her and see her eyes, and I can still feel the two things that happened for me at that moment. One was, wow, that is the truth. I can feel it. Whatever that is, that's the truth. And oh my God, that's what I've been doing. And the other piece was, that's kind of embarrassing and new age and dumb. I'm never gonna use that term, because I had no relationship to the word itself, and I only could associate it with kind of this whatever new agey something that felt like it didn't have substance to it. So my journey of accepting that as the a more external naming of a calling that has been very mysterious and very alive for me and very impossible to name, really, has been long. And a big part of it for me has been about understanding, what is the ancient root of priestess? How is it not just a kind of slightly, I don't know, a kind of paper thin or insubstantial, or like a creation of the whatever current contemporary spiritual movement is going on. And here's the truth. Priestesses served all across the ancient world for thousands of years. You actually can't find what it means to be priestess, in a way, because they served so many deities, they served so many localities, they served in so many ways: temple dancers, oracles, cooks, bookkeepers, lawgivers, builders, sacred sexual priestesses, virgin celibate priestesses. There is no way to say this is what priestess is, just as there is no way to say this is what woman is. Priestess is an emergence. Woman is an emergence. Sacred woman is what is emerging now, deeply in so many of us, and she will not be stopped, and she will not stop her calling. And in a way, understanding that this is the continuation of a very long, interrupted lineage can bring strength, can bring meaning, and can bring a level of understanding to what we're experiencing as women right now in our, what we might think of as our mundane lives, that is really important, because otherwise we can be confused. We don't honor ourselves in the way that we might, and we lack that sense of root in something that we really belong to. And let me tell you something. Whatever you're doing, whatever your joy is, whatever you've been called into, if it's the arts, if it's dance, if it's healing, if it's accounting, if it's warriorship, if it's sexuality, if it's not sexuality, if it's motherhood, whatever you've been called into, I promise you, there is an ancient priestess lineage that you are a part of, and there are ancient arts that are bubbling up and surfacing in you that you're drawing on, that are part of, in my opinion, a lineage and a presence that has existed before time and has found its expression in the body of woman and in the willingness of women to step forward and to accept their role as an instrument of something greater, as a confluence of divine, if you want, or soul powers or wisdom, a confluence of powers that are greater than her. The female body and the female psyche have been particularly made for that, simply because we're made to bring babies in. We just are made, wired in a million ways to bridge what is unseen and bring it into the seen. And that applies in all sorts of ways to our lives and to how we relate and to what we're actually bringing to our worlds. Why and how we're tuning up the emotional state of being that's all around us. All the different things that we're doing. So what I want to say to you is it doesn't matter whether you call yourself a priestess or even relate to that term. What is true is that you're a sacred woman, and that the archetype of priestess, whether you feel called to the more kind of cultural or witnessed or public role of that, whatever that might mean for you, of priestess, the archetype of priestess is going to be finding its expression in you. And that's because the archetype of priestess exists beyond and within all of us. There are going to be moments when you'll feel overshadowed or imbued with power that's more than yourself. There's going to be moments in lovemaking that just become transcendent. There are going to be moments when you touch another person that something big moves through. And there are going to be times when wisdom that is just beyond what your mind, beyond what your experiential wisdom could have ever given you will come through. I mean, priestess is going to touch you. And when she does, honor her. Honor yourself. Remember the context of that. Remember that this is a moment of your ancient belonging coming forward. It is you. And your direct connection to divinity, your direct connection to soul and wisdom is intact and is supported by a living tradition that has remained alive inside of womankind despite everything that's happened. We think that as, quote, patriarchy has happened and all these things, there's so much awareness of how women have suffered. And yes, of course, we've all suffered. And women have actually, in some ways, been less orphaned than men even, because there is this intact presence. Honor that inside of yourself. Don't ever let yourself be convinced that what woman is, what sacred woman is, and what you are and your lineage has ever been destroyed. It's been interrupted in many ways. It's been buried, it's been distorted in many ways. But you are a living example that priestess still lives. Sacred woman is what woman will always be. And there's nothing that you need to do or become other than what you are right now. It's really just a matter of recognizing what it is that you're already doing. These are natural arts. The arts of the priestess are natural arts. They're inborn. They're part of your own inclinations. They're flavored by that. But the arts of the priestess are just the natural arts of woman given place and given sacred context. So give sacred context. give power and amplify who you are, what moves through you. See yourself as one in this long line, this big web of star, sparkling, deep earth women. That is what you are. And the truth is that there aren't temples so much anymore. This is the pain sometimes, right? Temples were destroyed. Women have been oppressed. All these things, how much brutality, all these things that have happened. Consider this with me, that the blood of the wise priestesses, the blood of the wise women, the spirit of women sank into the earth. And the earth held all of that precious blood and all of that precious wisdom, and now has become the temple herself. We don't have all the temples all over the world that we used to, the way we used to in antiquity, when women had all the sacred roles. They were considered particularly suited for them and honored for that. We don't have that. What we have now is that each of us is born into and rises up inside and as the pillar of our own temple. You are the priestess of your realm. And your realm is what? It's your family. It's your love. It's your work. Whatever that is. It doesn't matter if it looks like what you think priestessing is or not. Are you working in the corporate world? Are you delivering mail? Are you cooking? Are you cleaning? Are you mothering? Are you teaching math to middle schoolers? What are you doing? Well, guess what? There's sacred purpose in there, and all it has to do with is you remembering what that is and touching into it. This is your realm to tend. That's what a priestess did and does. She serves her community. She serves her realm. She tends to it. She tends to the sacred wherever she sees it. She helps to make things sacred by her touch and by her love for them. And she helps what's around her to remember its true nature. You can do that, and you must do that wherever you are, especially within yourself, tending to your own true nature. Sacred woman doesn't have some picture to it. Sacred woman is what you are. The temple is where you are. The wisdom will come. The love will come. The powers that move through priestess are around you all the time. All you need to do is ask, turn towards them. This is prayer. This is becoming more translucent, more open, and letting them enter you. It's a lovership. Let yourself see what's already happening. You are already priestessing in so many ways because it's your nature. It is the nature of woman. So that's what I will share with you today. It's just that I honor you and I see you. And it's been a journey for me in a million ways to even be willing to consider having any kind of public anything around my relationship to God, Goddess, the divine, my soul. It's been a very private and intimate relationship for me. And it is for many of us. I've been called into a different expression of that. And I'm responding to that, and it's vulnerable. And when, I feel like I want to connect with you in that place of like, I know that you and I are going to be called in all these different ways, and that in the deepest heart place where we join is that we each have a very intimate, very soulful, very private relationship to the God or goddess or spirit of our own understanding. And that's what priestessing is. It's just to listen there and have that be the primary relationship, to care about that relationship and to know that it is the deepest truth of your being. And that intimacy deserves the highest respect, and that it deserves to be acknowledged as the most true, despite what our world may think or say or be able to perceive. You and your relationship to the divinity of your own understanding is the most true thing and the greatest gift that you can bring through and offer to the realm that you serve. So I am grateful to be on this web of Sacred Woman with you, whatever you want to call it, and whoever and however you serve that. I trust it completely, and I trust you completely. And I am so grateful that you're out there, because we are needed, and we need each other in ways that we always have and really do now. I'm going to stop myself there. I mean, there's a whole month in the mystery school about Priestess, and there's so much that I want to say, but mostly I wanted to share that moment with you. And I see you, Priestess. I see you, Sacred Woman. And I love you. And I'm here, and many of us are here with you. And your journey, as individual and as alone as it may feel at times, is a journey that is companioned by ancestresses and by sisters in the here and now. Even if we're not right next door to you, you are not alone, and you are so valuable and so holy, more than you can ever imagine. And I invite you to ask yourself and to look and to see what it is, what that means. If you're more holy than what you can imagine, and if you're more holy and more holding more of a sacred role than you give yourself credit for, what is that? Please take a minute and see yourself and fill your cup with what you really are, what you were really created to be. Blessed be.